What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this Wednesday night, February 15th, 2023. It's about 9:18 p.m. here along the West Coast in California. And real quick shout out to Judy Menzel, the latest latest winner in our member drawing. I was going to say the latest earthquake member. But hey, congratulations there, Judy, our winner for February. Latest earthquake shows a 3.0 earthquake into the area of western Texas. All right, let's go ahead and see what's going on here across the map as we look at the latest USGS model here. There is that 3.0 kicking up out here. Again, outside of Pecos, Texas, 7.5 kilometers deep into this area. Now, if you know my channel, you'll know that we chat about what's going on out here quite a bit. And there is some oil and pumping operations within the vicinity. And also some weird, I'm not for sure exactly what this is, maybe a solar farm within the vicinity. But there is some wastewater disposal wells is the key I'm kind of looking forward to here within the vicinity of this earthquake activity today. There's another one right out here, literally within a couple thousand feet. So oil injection wells and wastewater disposal activity. Yes, that's some earthquake activity being contributed to that process. All right. One earthquake out here into the outside of the Great Smoky Mountains area. See the 1.7 coming in early this morning, it looks like, about 19 kilometers deep. Greenback, Tennessee. This area is on my list here for some travel adventures. I would love to see this area. It's definitely on my list here very soon. All right, Southern California area. This has been our I hate to say it because I don't want to cause anything to happen out here, but it's been our quiet zone, so to speak, far as the Pacific plate movement. We haven't seen any major adjustment out here along the plate boundary of the Pacific and the North American plate, considering all the large-scale activity across the western and northern and the southwestern area of the Pacific plate. California has been very quiet. There's a little bit of activity kicking up here in the last hour. Nothing major. No major swarms kicking off. Into Northern California, very spotty activity across the area of the Bay region. The Clear Lake volcanic field still showing some movement. Again, this is the area that has some quite a few hydrothermal operations ongoing out here across the area of Cobb Mountain region. Into Northern California, these earthquakes from early this morning, a 2.2 and a 3.6. So on this note here, we're going to check out the tremor map here tonight and see what we have. I haven't even seen this yet, so let's see what we have here. Again, Oregon. Right around the Medford, Oregon area, underneath this area, roughly about 45 kilometers deep. Seeing some tremor activity taking place here into the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Up north, further up north, one earthquake here early this morning around Forks, Washington, a 2.4 at 26 kilometers deep there. Alaska, very typical activity across the area of the mainland region. Of course, we did see some activity across the Aleutian Trench early, actually late last night, I should say, following the activity in New Zealand. That was a little bit of adjustment going on the northern area of the Pacific plate. Still lacking activity here across the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench. Still waiting on some movement there. Into the area of the Philippine plate. Got a 4.6 coming in. The latest earthquake, 128 kilometers deep into the Guam area. That's at the southern end here of the Mariana Trench. It is a major subduction zone. And with this activity, we can expect some further surface movement or potentially some further activity here to the west around the Philippines area. Of course, we did see that 6.1 coming in early this morning. Not a whole lot of aftershock activity according to the USGS, but as we look here on the model, we do see quite a few 3s and 4s following that 6.1 there in the Philippines, according to the EMSC model. Not a whole lot going on across the Java Trench currently. Got one earthquake, a 4.3 over here around the, looks like the Bangladesh area. Let's see what we got here. Let me go over here. Yeah, very close, right on the border. Looks like 4.3 coming in, 64 kilometers deep. Now, this area southward sits in our major seismically active watch zone, roughly about the Java Trench northward, is very primed for a larger earthquake, considering all the lack of activity here recently within this zone. One earthquake way up north. I'm talking way up north of Mongolia, into the Russia area, 4.3, 10 kilometers deep. A quick glance here of the data surrounding this region does show some historical earthquake activity within the vicinity of today's epicenter. Further west, Turkey still rocking with some earthquake activity out there, aftershock movement. We did see a little bit of uptick here across Romania with a 4.4 earlier this afternoon. 10 kilometers deep. The rest of the Mediterranean area, nothing above 4.0, according to the USGS. And a look at the model here, mostly 2s and 3s and some 1s across the Mediterranean. A little bit of activity across the Middle America Trench kicking up. Just kind of looking out here on the broader scale of things. See what we got going on across the USGS model. They're showing one of the earthquakes here. Looks like a 4.3 just off the coast of El Salvador. 50 kilometers deep. Puerto Rico area showing some activity. And there's all that movement down here into the South America region. Quite a few 4s and 5s out there. And, of course, some smaller earthquakes kicking up around the Peru-Chile Trench. Looking at the earthquake 3D globe, I think it's safe to say the main area of interest currently sits around the Tonga Trench southward. Obviously, that includes New Zealand. So let's go ahead and check out the activity here that's been taking place. Of course, we had the 5.7, 5.0. Back and forth here between the North Island, New Zealand area. This is it's a major plate boundary, folks. This is some beautiful countryside. I've seen it only in pictures and only of word of mouth. But there's some beautiful areas, a lot of awesome people out there. Timothy lives down, Timothy's out there in New Zealand. One of the moderators here on the channel and a member here on the channel and a contributor to some great information out here in regards to the earthquake activity across New Zealand. So we did see some activity out here at the northern end of the Hikurangi and also at the southern end of the Hikurangi subduction zone. This area right here is where we see the large earthquakes. We're talking about 8.0 and above for the Hikurangi subduction zone. I pulled up 8.0 and above since about the year 0, just to be sure that the USGS is showing all the earthquake activity out here. And this is basically going to show where all the major subduction zones are taking place. We don't normally see 8.0 or 9.0 earthquakes along For example, a right lateral fault system. Although there's definitely some speculation here that the San Andreas fault down here has enough stress built up for an 8.1. But most of the activity, large scale and mega earthquake activity, happens along subduction zones. And we're looking at the Tonga Trench southward, Kermadec Trench, obviously. Let's see here. Yeah, there's our 8-pointer from a couple years ago. But notice here, notice the lack of 8-pointers across the major subduction zone, such as the southern end of the Kermadec Trench and the Hikurangi subduction zone. So we're talking about 500 years or so of intervals in the Hikurangi subduction zone as far as earthquake activity goes. There's a very interesting article here put out by the gns.cri.nz, which is a New Zealand site, in regards to their studying of the Hikurangi subduction zone. And their estimate here, average time between significant earthquakes in the southern part of the subduction zone is 500 years. There is a video here that is worth watching if you live in New Zealand. I've been kind of chatting about New Zealand quite a bit because, well, they've been having some earthquake activity out here recently. And there's quite a bit of accumulated stress here along this area of the Hikurangi subduction zone. Notice the red arrows. Those are indicative of subduction. You got the Pacific plate here, subducting underneath the Australian plate. The Pacific plate always gets bullied around. It gets shoved underneath the Peru-Chile Trench. Well, that's a different portion of the plate, but it does get shoved underneath other areas along the west coast and up along the Japan area, and of course around the Hikurangi subduction zone. And a look here at the accumulated stress rate indicates this area of the southern end of the Hikurangi subduction zone, which sits right about here, averages about 41 mm per year. Now, if we were to go back 500 years on average, just say the last earthquake was over 500 years ago, and convert that to inches, I came out with a measurement of 67 feet and 3 inches of accumulated stress here along the area of the Hikurangi subduction zone. That's a major buildup of stress out here along this area of the southern end of the Hikurangi. Obviously, there's the North Island fault system that includes some larger earthquakes historically, but we're talking about 8.0 and above. And there is a little mention here. Definitely, well, I don't know if it's mentioned here in this update or not, but the Hikurangi is very capable of producing possibly a 9.0 earthquake. One of the largest earthquakes, to take place here on this planet. Earthquakes up to 8.2 have been recorded on the Hikurangi subduction zone, generating obviously tsunamis, and earthquakes in the 9.0 range are thought to be possible. So it's a very questionable future event. I think we know it's going to happen, but when and how often it happens is kind of remains to be seen here. There is historical data, but not much. Look at this. Multiple uplift earthquakes will have have occurred in the locked areas of the fault, but a good historical record does not exist, according here to the Wikipedia article. So there's a little uncertainty compared to, for example, the Cascadia subduction zone. But the Hikurangi is a major seismically active area. It's a big hazard area for the New Zealand folks here. No matter where you live at, South Island, North Island, there's a large population density out here, and the accumulated stress here, it's up there. It's in there. Look at this seismic gap right here. You guys see that? This is 8.0 and above historical records. New Zealand right in the middle. Cascadia Subduction Zone up here. Of course, 9.0 back in 1700. Average intervals here between the Cascadia, roughly about 3. Some say about 260 to 500 years or so. But there's intervals where we see partial ruptures down south here. It's there. It's coming. Definitely got to be prepared there for the North Island, South Island, New Zealand area. Let's go ahead and check out real quick here across the GeoNet servers as I zoom in to the area. 14 hours ago, we want all magnitudes here. 2.6. There's a 3.9. Look at that. Very deep earthquake activity here. 456 kilometers deep on the north side of North Island, New Zealand. So, got to remember here, it's kind of like a boomerang. Well, I really can't compare this to a boomerang. But when we have activity here, deeper movements inland, down dip here of the Hikurangi, movement down south here as well, kind of bending this area, further straining. I got hiccups all of a sudden. We are further straining this area of the locked area, so to speak. And that's kind of what I look for, that bouncing back of earthquake activity here between the north and the south area of the North Island, New Zealand region. It's there. Look at that. We can see it into the oceanic crust, but the deadly effects of it, it exists, and I want people to be prepared. 4.1 up further along the Kermadec Trench, north of the Hikurangi, 231 kilometers deep. We gotta pay attention to this deeper earthquake activity. There's a 1.9, 138 kilometers deep. That's pretty much in the middle of the Hikurangi subduction zone area. Right here, 1.9. 2.8, 195 kilometers deep. We're just, overall, New Zealand seeing a lot of questionable deeper activity here across the North Island, New Zealand area. And it's a little concerning, folks. Definitely watching it pretty closely. As it sits, obviously, within that seismic gap zone. You know, it's definitely not fear-mongering, but it's a fact out here. There's a couple different fault systems. The Alpine Fault here that's overdue for a pretty large earthquake, but the Hikurangi is a little bit more of a larger player in terms of some damaging earthquakes. All right, let's move on up north into the Fiji area. Last earthquake, a 4.9, 85 kilometers deep, a little bit further upstream here along the Tonga Trench. About 10 minutes prior to that, some deeper earthquake activity. So notice the deeper activity triggering surface earthquake activity upstream along the locked area. I heard my doggy bark out there, so I'm just kind of wondering what's going on. Looking at security cams, make sure everything is good. Make sure I'm not being invaded. All right, what else we got here? There's that three-pointer, Western Texas, Yellowstone National Park. Let me see here real quick. I do want to include this page for you guys to review. It's well worth the read, well worth watching this video, but I'm not going to show it here on this channel. That will be provided there in the link in this update video. Yellowstone National Park. Relatively minor activity. There's not a whole lot going on here locally. Across that super volcano, things actually look pretty calm, pretty mellow. Space weather activity, we are looking and expecting a G2 class storm. Now, this is coming from a halo eruption, pretty much a massive CME that was produced that is expected to be stronger than what was originally forecasted. According to the Space Weather Prediction Center, a G2 storm is predicted by late February 17th here in a couple days and into the 18th. A moderate G2 storm watch was officially added beginning on Friday. Aurora Skywatcher should be alert this weekend, so that is due again to a partial halo CME eruption responsible from this watch. Looks like the filament eruption around AR 3220 early yesterday. 3220 is directly facing Earth, so that CME that was blasted off was obviously Earth directed. So we'll continue to watch that. Far as the sunspots that are positioned across the Earth currently, not a whole lot of development. Most of these sunspots look fairly stable, and overall threat a 99% chance for a C flare, M flare around 45% chance, and looks like about 10% chance for an X flare. Again, watch for that. Looks like around the 17th or 18th time frame. Elevated conditions here due to the subsequent CME eruptions here across the Earth's side of those sunspots. All right, let's see what else we got. Real quick glance here of the weather out here along the West Coast. I know quite a few folks do want to know what's going on. When are we getting some more rain? Well, looks like that low pressure system decided to back off. And our next shot of rain and snow begins around the 21st of February with a system dropping down out of the north, bringing some extremely cold air and low elevation snow to Oregon and Northern California. We'll continue to watch that as it brings another kind of a cutoff low pressure system here to the west. Notice the uptrend here, the circulation bringing in some moisture to the California area. That's going to be actually rather impressive here. Some much needed rainfall and snowfall into California, and back behind that, more rainfall. This kind of reminds me of an El Nino year, but technically speaking, we're in La Nina, which means drier conditions for Northern California. But surprisingly, it's been opposite. So that kind of tells you right there that, well, you know, the scientists, the geologists, the weathermen, all these climologists, is that right? These folks here, you know, they kind of think they know what's going on, but, you know, Mother Nature has a way of switching things up, so to speak. So I'm more of a fan of Mother Nature than I am man. That's just a fact. That's why I call myself the Earth Master. I don't call myself the Man Master. I don't know about that. That would not be good. So I'm more in tune of nature than I am around people. So that's just a fact. I think a lot of us can agree with that. When we're out there amongst Mother Nature, we tend to focus more on ourselves and priorities and whatnot, and that's what I'm all about. That's kind of how I've been my entire life. And a lot of times, a lot of folks consider that an outcast. You know, well, how come you don't want to associate with people? You know, how come you don't watch football? I'm not going to get into sports and stuff like that, but I'm more inclined to watch weather than I am sports. That's just how I am. I don't know. I think a few folks maybe might agree with me. It might be a little bit taboo to mention that I'm anti-sports, but that's just how it is. All right, folks, have a good day. Have a good night. Again, congratulations to Judy out there, our winner in our February update, and she's already claimed her prize. It was just like that. So we'll get her prize out to her tomorrow, hopefully. And we'll do it again. We'll do it again in March. But kind of thinking about maybe something different. I don't know. Maybe we'll keep it the same here for a little bit. We're coming up very close to our 100,000 subscriber giveaway. Let me see here real quick where we're at as far as the data goes. We're getting very close. We gained over the last 30 days. We've gained 2.1 thousand subscribers. 2.1 thousand subscribers. That's a lot in 30 days. We appreciate every single one of you folks joining. So at that rate, we could be at 100,000 here probably by the end of summer. And there's some big giveaways going on with that drawing. We're going to be giving away some significant prizes to 10 people there. And it's going to be a massive drawing. So it's going to be a little chaotic writing everyone down. But we'll go into that as we get closer to that 100,000 subscriber mark. But I am very excited to give away some cool stuff out there. All right, guys, have a good night. Stay safe. We will chat you guys very soon. Have a good one.